All right, guys, let's get started. Dun, dun, dun. Hopefully you can hear me. Hopefully you can see my screen. If you can, let me know on the chat box. Good. Excellent. Um, so go-to training is I think it should be a little bit more casual. Uh, So what I'm going to do is just kind of spend this time going through the platform, and we're going to go through the discussion board. But I know sometimes the first day of class can be a little bit of information overload and like sensory overload with all kinds of, craziness. Just trying to figure out getting your bearings in order and knowing that you're doing what you need to be doing. And sometimes it's hard to kind of file away your plan of how you want to digest information. So I wanted to give you another round of just looking at things on the platform, because this is going to be the most important part, is being able to navigate what you need to know. And for our purposes, one, you have me, so you can ask me. And two, the platform here is designed for you to sort of choose your adventure as you go. So let's go through everything here. I put up a little intro video, and it's got like the worst capture image ever of me. But anyway, less about that. I could probably adjust it if I took the time to do it, but I haven't. But anyway, there's my little intro video. Some of you have probably seen that. This is the Psychology of Play roadmap. And in here, there is some stuff about kind of where we're going. And it's designed to give you kind of an intro as well, but it gives you kind of the breakdown of the 4 weeks, and just kind of gets you pointed in the right direction. This little video talks about just kind of an overview. So if you haven't taken advantage of that yet, get that done. Professionalism, you can come in here and just click that you've completed it. You guys probably have a pretty good idea about what professionalism and GPS stuff is. And it breaks it down kind of like I told you yesterday about how the points factor in. So this is 10% of your grade, your professionalism score. Keep that in mind. Um, the troubleshooting and resources is definitely one that if you have not checked out yet, you want to make sure you come look at this. Here we have our support hotline for FSO, and then there's tutorials for Lynda. You basically have the entire gamut of lynda.com at your fingertips, and that's good stuff. I know I go to lynda.com to go check out stuff about photography and business, and you guys can learn all sorts of supplemental things through Lynda. Uh, then here's the thing for Adobe Reader. There are some things that you will want to have Adobe Reader for, like the lecture slides that I provide to you. I'm going to go show you those in a minute, but those are in a PDF format. So if you do not have Adobe Reader, you want to come back here and click on this link, and it will take you to Adobe Reader for the download for it. And that'll let you open up the lecture slides if you are not able to download them when you go click on them. And then here's some more stuff. The Writing Center is a really big deal. I do not get too picky about your writing, but one of the things that is a very big concern university-wide is how are you guys doing on your writing skills? And so for our discussion board, the most you can miss point-wise, I believe, is 10 points if your writing is not up to college level. But if you feel like you could benefit from some assistance, the Writing Center has folks who are there all the time, and their goal in life is to help you succeed with writing. And they actually work right behind me in my building, and so they're there all the time helping students out. So it's a resource that if you need, it is a low impact way. It is not a threatening thing. It's just like 2 or 3 folks who literally sit in a cubicle and help students with writing skills. And so you can contact them right here, either at Writing Center at fullsail.com, or you can call them at extension 2340. And it's great. We want to make sure that you guys take advantage of that, and don't feel like I'm getting all judgy if I tell you you need to. It's just, I would rather have me point you in that direction now than have you wait until like an English instructor or instructors in your specific programs see it as more of a barrier to you going forward. So I just want to bring that up to you nowish. Cool? Sure, Billy, that's great. Awesome. Thanks for telling us. All right. So here we go. Here are the slides from yesterday. If you go click on the lecture slides activity, you'll see I've already got the first day slides put in. And if you click on these, and if you have Adobe Reader, it should pop up. Dun, dun, dun. Come on, baby, pop up. There we go. And so here's all the stuff that we went through yesterday. And so this is all available to you. So as you try to figure out if you got everything you wanted out of the lecture, you can come back here and get a refresher. You can archive this for later. You can hold on to this for your brain teaser. I'm going to put these up every time we have a lecture. And so as we get more specific on content, these lecture slides, as they are also more specific on content, will help you out if you're doing the brain teaser, because that's based on the reading. And so a lot of what I'm going to be covering in future lectures is going to be reading specific. So that's the lecture slides. So this will, in the future, have more than just this one link. It'll have a lot more stuff here, but that's where that lives. That's in the Getting Started section before week 1. It's at the very bottom. So that is the Getting Started activities. So let's go look at week 1. And hopefully your stuff looks pretty similar. As an instructor, my view of the platform may be a little bit different than yours, but in general speaking, me showing it to you, hopefully there's enough similarity to it to where you can benefit from me showing you my view. So we have a community board. You can come in here and speak to each other, put up stuff to share info with, kind of like you guys were already doing. And this is kind of like your Discord thing that you guys were talking about yesterday. And it sounds like you guys are all over that already. Weekly plan, we went through this yesterday in class. So hopefully you are finished with this and you have it uploaded to the platform. If you are having trouble with it, feel free to send me a message. If you need any help, I'm happy to help out. Oh, here's a thing. One of the things I mentioned, stuff in black is stuff you should read. Stuff in orange you should also read too, but it generally leads to stuff if it's orange. And so here is an article that the orange text links out to, and it goes into great detail about the weekly plan. And so even though I walked you guys through it yesterday, here's the actual material that we use to teach from for the weekly plan. And this gives you Amber Ray's thought process on how the weekly plan works. And so they've got a little example in here, but I think it is worth mentioning that I got here by clicking on the orange text in our reading. And so I'm going to show you in our main portion of the readings today where you may find more orange text that you want to go click on. And so just know things like that, because that could be kind of misleading. As a student, I would have missed this. And so I want to make sure that you know. Here is the E3. Hopefully you guys have been able to get in there to do this. I believe this is due Thursday. And so one of the things you should know is when you do your assessment, they're going to ask you to put in your section number. And so that is right here. We are section number 2. And so in order for you to get your results emailed back to you, they want you to tell them what your section number is. And so we're section 2. So you click the orange here to go take the assessment, and you click here to learn about your results. Again, lots of orange text that leads to all of the things that you should know. Cool? So that's the E3. You guys figured out we're doing the virtual lecture. 48 of you are here attending live, which is great. That's like half of the class that's able to make it in person. That's awesome. If you want to know, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back in here and I'm going to actually upload a video of what we're doing right now, and it's going to live basically right in here. And so other students are going to be able to come in here and just click on the video. And if you want to come back and watch it again, if you need a refresher on something, just come right back into the 1.3 virtual lecture, and you can just click this video, fast forward me to the part you want to hear about, and then you'll be good. Okay, so one of the things that students ask is, where's the material we're supposed to read? Where's our textbook? That's one of the big questions, is where is the textbook? Your textbook lives every week on the platform. And so this week, it's activities 1.4 and 1.5. And so when you go click on reading 1 in 1.4, this is your textbook basically for the week. And so here is all the things you need to know for concepts for week 1. And so we're going to talk about time batching a little bit. We're going to talk about peak performance. There's an article here on social jet lag and multitasking. And so this is the reading for part 1. Oh, and like I said, at the bottom of this, you're going to probably click this that you finished it. If you don't click this, it's okay. You do not have to click this that you completed it. It's not like you get points off if you forget to click that. Totally not a thing. So here is reading 2. And in here is play history. We're going to talk about this tomorrow. Qualities of play. These are the qualities. These are the play personalities and multiple intelligences. When you click on this stuff in orange, this will take you to an inventory that you can do so that you can find out your way that you stack up in the multiple intelligences. So you can come in here and profile yourself that way. And so that's basically the way the reading is going to go every week. So these 2 reading sections, 1.4 and 1.5, are where the brain teaser is going to pull from. So when you need to take your brain teaser, you can open up your brain teaser in one window and then open up your reading in another window and just go back and forth between the reading and the brain teaser and take your brain teaser. Now, I'm going to skip down a little bit to the bonus material. This is also material that you are encouraged to read, but there is nothing that's going to come from the brain teaser from this bonus material. It is totally a bonus, and it's just material that we offer to you that lets you dig a little deeper if you find that you want to dig deeper, and you find a little rabbit hole you want to go down. You can totally do it here in the bonus material. This is through Safari Books, and so when you click here, you'll basically have to log in to Safari Books, and you're going to log in the same way that you log in on Connect. Let's see what happens. Yeah. So you'll sign in with the same username and password that you use to log into Full Sail. And that'll open up all of the things for this reading. But it's not required. You can totally ignore it if you are feeling like you are a little bit overbooked, but if you're not overbooked, it is there for you. Cool. How are we doing so far? Guys feel like you're benefiting from this? All right, cool. Well, I just finished my last sip of tea, so I'm ready to go. On to the discussion. So 1.6 is your discussion. And so in my book, this is the bread and butter, the nuts and bolts, the main part of what your work is going to be for the week, essentially. This is worth 15% of your grade in the whole class. And so this is where I want you to put the majority of your writing focus for the week. And so what you're going to do is come in here and you're going to make your initial post before Thursday at 11:59 p.m. And so for your initial post, we want you to write a paragraph for each one of these things. Question 1, describe an activity that you find fun. Question 2, identify and define at least 2 concepts from the reading. That's going to be a whole paragraph we want you to write. And then you're going to write a paragraph providing an example. And then for number 4, you're going to write a paragraph. And then number 5, you're going to put in an image. So you're going to end up, when you're done, your discussion board initial post is going to be 4 paragraphs and an image. And so whenever we say paragraph, we want you to write 5 or 6 sentences per paragraph. So this is going to be like 20 sentences by the time you're finished with it. But this is 15% of your grade. So by the time you do this 4 times, 60% of the entire class is the discussion boards week by week. So it's really important that you guys take the time to be effortful. I think I made that word up, or diligent in coming up with a discussion board initial post that is descriptive and coherent and organized and targeted to what exactly it is we are asking. So my job right now is to walk you through how to do that craziness. So here's what I want you to do. When you go do your initial post, bring it up on a separate document first off. I have a lot of students who just go start writing it out on the discussion board on the platform, and they'll write stuff out and they're jamming, they're doing good, and they hit enter, and what happens? The platform times out and they lose their entire discussion board initial post. And they go, I want to break something. And I totally get it. And so to avoid that, what I would do is go bring up, Pages or Word or some sort of text editor and write your initial post out first on a separate document. Sam, can the image we utilize be from any play experience, or do you want it to relate to number 4 during the week? It can be any play experience. It does not need to be related to number 4. Any play experience is totally legit. So you got your blank document open, you are writing up your initial post, you're writing 4 paragraphs, and you finish and you decide what you have come up with is good because you've described a fun activity, you describe what you enjoy about it, and you've talked about how you would talk to others into doing this activity. You've defined 2 concepts from the week 1 reading. And so you're going to go in here and, for example, you would say, from the reading, I enjoyed multiple intelligences and the qualities of play. And so I'm identifying those 2 concepts by saying multiple intelligences and qualities of play. And so then I have to actually define what those concepts are, because we're not just identifying, we're identifying and defining. And so what I don't want you to do is go like word for word copy the definition. In your words, what does it mean? What are the qualities of play? just so you know, basically the qualities of play are the definition of play. And that's how I would define it. The qualities of play are basically Stuart Brown's definition of play. And so multiple intelligences are the many different types of way that I can be intelligent. It's not a measurement of how smart I am. It's an identification of what type of intelligence I am. And that's how I would define multiple intelligences. And so that's how my paragraph would sound. And so then I would need to provide an example of how these concepts tie into the activity that I described above. So for multiple intelligences, I would say I am high on interpersonal intelligence. I'm really big into communicating between people. That's how I enjoy communicating. And so a lot of my play is in hanging out and talking to people. And so for the qualities of play, I love the freedom from time that you feel when you are playing. Like when I go play my Star Wars game, I zone out and it is totally escape into the back of my mind, lose track of time experience. And so that's how I would define the qualities of play. One of them is called freedom from time. So I've identified and I've defined my concepts in question 2. And in 3, I'm providing an example of how those concepts tie into my activities. And so then, what percentage of your play goals did you complete this week? So this goes back to your weekly plan. In your weekly plan, you're just basically saying, I accomplished probably half of my goals. And it's just your play goals. Like you've got your work, play, fit, and push. We're asking you here to talk about your play goals. Like how did you do on your play goals? Did you play half as much as you wanted to? Did you play twice as much as you wanted to? Anything here is totally fine. And so really, just telling me 60% doesn't answer the question because it's just one sentence, because I'm also being asked, how did my play impact my week? So then I'm going to spend, the rest of my paragraph talking about when I was playing, here's how my week went. And so then I'm going to upload a picture of me playing my Star Wars game, right? Or I'm going to take a picture of me playing with my kids. And so that's going to be how your initial post goes. So it's going to be 4 paragraphs and a picture. And that is due Thursday before midnight. Does that make sense to you guys? Do you have any questions so far about the initial post? If you do, feel free to write them in the chat box and we can make sure you don't have a question going forward. And also, you can totally ask that question tomorrow in class too. Cool. Okay. Now, in creative presentation, I don't know if they talk to you about the RISE model. They probably do. Full Sail is really big into the RISE model. Still don't understand what you mean by concepts. So when I say concepts, I just mean things from the reading in week 1. You're going to go into the week 1 reading, look into 1.4 and 1.5, and pull out concepts that you notice. So here are these are the qualities of play. Play is apparently purposeless. Play is voluntary. It has inherent attraction. These are concepts. These are concepts in the course, or terms, or definitions. These are terms in the course. These are play ideas that we're asking you to know about. And so we're asking you to come find anything in here that is course information that you'll want to know. And you're going to talk about any of these things. Multiple intelligences, play personalities. These are the qualities of play. Play history is a big one. So those are some of the concepts from part 2. But there's also part 1. You can go find stuff in there too. The work, play, fit, push plan is literally a concept in week 1 reading. Time batching, peak performance, multitasking. These are concepts from the reading. Anything in here, you can identify it and tell me about it, and that's how you answer the question about the concepts. Good. Okay. So, RISE model. Full Sail, really big into the RISE model. Billy, yeah, okay, I guess. But if you find that you are not comfortable or that it's awkward to compose a coherent response post to somebody using this, um, I can see why it would be difficult. And so if you are not a fan yet of the RISE model, I have a way that I grade for it. So what I look for is there's 4 things here: reflect, inquire, suggest, elevate. In my mind, if we're asking you to do these 4 things in a response post, you can't do that in 1 sentence. You cannot reflect, inquire, suggest, and elevate all in 1 sentence. You have to do that 1 sentence at a time. And so, if you are going to earn full credit for your response posts, for my version of grading, it's got to either use the RISE model or it's got to be 4 sentences long. If you turn in a response post with less than 3 sentences, you can't do the RISE model because it takes at least 4 sentences to do these 4 things. For some of you, it might take 6 or 7 sentences to accurately use the RISE model. But for some of you, you can do it in 4 sentences, but you can't do all 4 of those things in 1 sentence. So I have some leniency in my grading if you are not accurately using the RISE model by saying you must put in 4 sentences or use the RISE model. How's that? Does that make sense? That way it's more measurable. It's a lot easier for you to know what 4 sentences looks like if you're having a hard time with doing the RISE model. I think you should shoot for using the RISE model. I think it's a really good way to do it. And I think if you follow this, you will come up with a coherent, response post. You're going to have a great organized way of communicating. But for some of us, it's not the way that we communicate with naturally. And so it feels forced. And I don't want the discussion board to feel forced. I would much rather have it feel meaningful than accurate on the RISE model. And so if you are able to be meaningful without using the RISE model, I just require you to write 4 sentences. And so there you go. I will not grade you down if you write at least 4 sentences, but I will tell you that you're awesome if you're writing 4 sentences and using the RISE model. And here's how the points break down. When you get your feedback from me, I'm going to basically send this back to you with what you earned. If you earn 100, it'll look just like this. But if you miss out on like 5 points because one of your responses is 3 sentences instead of 4, this will be like 15 instead of 20. If you have a hard time with grammar errors 1 week, this might come down by like 5. But if you do not put in the concepts, that's where these things come into play. Thoroughly addresses all of the questions and meets length requirements. This is where I'm looking for, did you write 4 paragraphs? 1 for each question. And then, did you provide clear and specific examples or concepts in the initial post? This is where I'm looking for 2 terms or 2 concepts from the reading, and you identifying those and applying them. And so that's that part. So this is where I gauge whether or not you fully understood the reading. And that's in talking about the definitions. Anything from week 1 reading material. So that is the discussion board. How are we doing? Do we have any questions on the discussion board? All right. So your initial post is due on Thursday. Your two response posts are due on Sunday night. Excellent. So here is the brain teaser. It's basically a quiz. It's got 20 questions. Um, I'm not going to open them up because I think it shows you the answer if I open them up. um, but basically, you're going to just go in here, read these questions, and they're going to be like taking just a regular basic quiz. They are multiple choice, and they're meant to be, a little bit challenging, but they're not trick questions. Oh, and one of the things that I'll say on these brain teasers, they are 7% of your grade. So the brain teaser, let's say you feel like you did a horrible job and you got like a 60, right? Um, so a 60 times 7% is 4.2% out of 7%. So if you get a 60, you get 4.2 points out of 7. You are not going to fail the class if you get a 60 on these things every week. The most important part is that you are attempting to do these things. So if you're, kind of the mindset that you need to be making like a 90 or above, and you're doing that, you're going to be in awesome shape. If you see a 90 and up as a good grade, then you're good. And then if you expect that of yourself every week, but you get like a 60, it is not like it makes a 20-point difference in your grade. It makes a 1-point difference in your grade. So I tell you that to tell you, do not get discouraged if you do not perform as well as you would like to on the brain teaser in one specific week. But the best way to prevent that is to go spend time doing the reading before you come try to take the brain teaser. Because if you try to take that brain teaser without doing the reading, it's going to be bad. Because it's specific to the reading. But once you've done the reading, you come back in here and take this thing, you should be fine. All right. That's the stuff for week 1. I'll tell you a couple of other things. I'll give you a sneak peek here. For week 2, we're going to do a team activity. And then also for week 2, the go-to training, the live lecture, it's going to be a little different. What's going to happen is you're going to come in here and you're going to click, and you'll see here, there's a video right here. And so this video is a recorded archive that's already there for week 2. So week 2, instead of meeting like this, there's going to be a recording. And so you'll just come in here and watch this recording for week 2, week 3, and week 4. There will not be a live lecture with me leading it. It's going to be a recording. You'll come in here, you'll watch the video, you'll answer these 5 questions or 4 questions, and then that will be your proof that you watched the video. What format are the questions in the brain teaser? They are multiple choice. The other thing, week 2 and week 3, we have team projects. And so this is not going to be something that you should be paranoid or concerned about. I'm going to split you up into teams next week, and you'll get your team assignments. You'll have plenty of time. We're going to work on these in class. I'm going to make sure that you have class time to be able to get to know your teammates, and that you have class time to be able to work on the team activities instead of having to like go to people's houses and try to do these things on, community time. Am I assigning you team members? Yes. I'm going to have the team member assignments for you in class on Monday. Yeah, Monday next week. Yeah. So we're going to do that in week 2 and week 3. And then in week 4, we are going to have, for our last day of class, we're going to have a library day. So week 4, last day of class, is going to be a total cakewalk where I'm going to contact the nice lady, Stephanie, over at the library, and she will hopefully allow us to come over to the library for our last class time together and hang out and play games, like a whole lot of video games and board games, and it's a good time. A good time will be had by all. So the last day of class is fun because the class is supposed to be about fun. All right. Pretty good. I got through this in like 36 minutes. Let's see. What about people who are going to be out of town next week for 2 days and have to miss 2 days of class? So that's a good question. My thinking about the group projects is that if you are gone for 2 days, you are going to have time to contribute to the process before you miss class. Because I'm going to provide you time all week in your group um, should not feel like you are not included. Your group should feel like you are included in the process of turning in the assignment, and it is going to be up to you as students to advocate for yourself. Hey, look, I got to go out of town. I've already talked about this with Billy. We're doing a group project. He is aware that I'm leaving town. I know that I'm going to miss 4 hours, but I don't want to miss 4 hours and this, because this is 2 more hours. And so the format of the class is set up so that I get to participate at least one of these days. Give me something to do towards turning this thing in. And that's the way that I see it. You should be able to facilitate somebody who is not going to be able to make it. And if somebody isn't there all week and doesn't get to do anything, then that's not okay. And yeah, you can totally work on things virtually with your group members too if you have to. And I also work with students individually and the group leader to make sure that if there's a thing that needs to be facilitated, I'm able to help facilitate success in those situations. My goal here is to provide you guys an avenue to work your way through it, not to provide you extra hurdles to keep you from doing it. But it's going to take intentionality on your part to demonstrate to your team members and to me that you're trying to intentionally get the stuff sorted through and turned in. So I work with you. I'll tell you, not all instructors take this route. Some instructors are very by the book, and you miss 4 hours and then you miss your group project. If your team captain doesn't write your name on there, you're up the creek. I think that is accurate, but kind of like I was saying earlier, I would rather have this experience be meaningful for you and you do the things you need to do more than just checking the boxes of me trying to get you to turn in an assignment differently. Like it's too much, it's extra work to have somebody turn in that assignment individually than it would be if just the group knows that it's a normal thing for somebody who's going away for a day or two to be able to still be able to contribute. So really the burden is on the group facilitating working earlier or around that particular absence problem. But I'm going to make sure that you guys don't have any issues. That's kind of my role. What will we be doing in the group assignment? So we might actually change the week 3 activity, but the week 2 is going to be happiness quest. So you're basically going to do this little thing where you're going to, it changes from time to time. We update them. You're going to work together to go do two of these little activities. You're going to basically do like a vision board or two meaningful acts of kindness, or you can do a 30-minute exercise as a group. I don't want to get too hung up on what it is specifically because I don't want to jump ahead too much. Basically, they are low impact things that you can do in class or like right as you leave class. So I showed you that to show you I don't want you to worry about it. It's not going to be something that is like come up with a 40-page essay together. It's nothing like that. Okay. Do you have any questions? If you do, think about them and write them into the chat box. Um, if you don't, do we have classes this Wednesday and Friday? Yes. We have class every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 3 o'clock, 3 to 5. Uh, So if you do not have any more questions, I'm going to go ahead and let you go. 41 minutes is a pretty good amount of time. We covered the discussion board. That's my main concern. I have a whole lot planned for you tomorrow as far as content and things. Um, um, let's see. I know it seems mean, but can we discuss teammates with you if it's an issue? I have never had an issue. Um, but you can always tell me anything. One of the things that I've noticed is you guys will tell me whatever is on your mind, and that is totally fine. And I will help you sort through whatever it is. I've never had anything that has been, oh my gosh, that's horrible. There have not been any horrible outcomes yet. Um, so if you're ready to go, you can go ahead and go. I will see you guys tomorrow at 3 o'clock. If you would like to hang around and ask any questions, I will be available. Yep. All right. See you guys tomorrow. Thanks.